were always like tight with money. It was like if I wanted to do some extracurricular activity, it was like, oh no, that's too expensive. I always felt like, I don't know, just weird about that. Like I like less than in a way. There's people that have a lot more wealth and they're not happy. And welcome back to Inside Out. This is another solo episode, and this time we're going to be talking all about money. I want to share a little bit about my relationship with money. We all have a relationship with money, whether we realize it or not. Usually it's not like perfectly healthy. There's different things throughout our life that have shaped the way that we see money, the way that we deal with money. I feel like money is extremely taboo. People don't really like to talk about it, and it's could be like tacky. It's part of all of our lives, and lately I see everything getting more and more expensive. Also, there's like just with social media and with all the links and with all the things, like everyone's expected to keep up, to be able to afford everything, like if it's just normal. And I think a lot of people are maybe struggling and don't want to say it, don't want to talk about it. And that's kind of like, I want to just air my thoughts out on the whole topic. Really, truly believe that how much money someone has does not like establish their worth. It doesn't mean that they are more important than somebody else. Doesn't mean they're smarter. Doesn't mean that they're a better person or that they're happier. Like, and somebody with less money does not mean that they're dumb or stupid or that they don't work hard or that they are unhappy and miserable. Like, I feel like that actually has nothing, how much money you have has nothing to do with all of those other really, really important things on the inside. And I think we need to normalize that a little bit, because I think we just are always looking at the money aspect. That is the success, or that means you're happy, or that means that you're smart, or that means that you're important, and it's not. And I also want to make a point to say that there's nothing wrong with money as long as you're using it for the right purposes and you're seeing it and you're giving it the value that it deserves. I do not consider myself rich financially. It's something that I aspire to have more of. I want to work towards that. 38 years old, I'm now starting a career, and I'm excited for my money journey, and I want to start learning a lot more about it. And I'll speak on that at the end of the episode with some books and some things. What money is to me is freedom to choose what I want to do with my days, who I want to spend time with, being able to do the things that are important to me, which is traveling, learning, taking courses, being able to have like free time to read, just if I want to go shopping, being able to buy things that make me feel good, make me feel confident for myself, like on the inside, not for external validation. It's not like I'm going to buy the new designer bag that just came out that everybody wants because everybody else wants it. Like, if it's not my favorite, it's not something I really want, I don't need to be chasing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting material things as long as it's to make you happy, like really truly make you happy. It's something you want, not something that everyone else wants, so then you want to have it. I also want to have more money so that I can host people and not have to stress about all the, expenses when you're having a party or buying things or making dinners. When I go to birthday parties or weddings, being able to afford nice presents for people, or if I go out to lunch or dinner, being able to treat my friends or my family, or, those are things I want to do with money that I look forward to. I also, for self-care, I don't want to have to stress when I want to get like facials done or get my hair done or a blowout, just because those are the things that I look forward to spending money on and reasons why I want to make more money. I'm going to share a little bit about my life, from starting from childhood up until now, and my relationship with money in that sense. I grew up in a house with my mother and my sister. My parents got divorced when I was 2. My dad lived in Dominican Republic. He worked. My mom did not work. She raised us, and he provided for us. He provided a great life in the sense of like we had a beautiful home in Coral Gables, a brand new Mercedes S-Class, like always had a nice, safe car. We went to school in a private Catholic school in Coral Gables. Obviously, all of that is very expensive, and my dad provided that for us. However, on the outside, it looked very luxurious, but on the inside, we didn't really have shopping money. We didn't ever go shopping. We really rarely ever went out to eat to restaurants. It was like we would go to Fridays or Fuddruckers. Like those are the places I remember going mostly. But my mom was the one that would pick us up from school every day. She cleaned the house every day, went to the supermarket every day, made dinner for us every night. Like she was very present. She raised us, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, we were always like tight with money. It was like if I wanted to do some extracurricular activity, it was like, oh no, that's too expensive. Or if we wanted to go somewhere, it was like, no, sorry. My mom didn't want to ask my dad for any more than what he was already providing, which was already a lot and wonderful. But I went to school with people who had way more money, and I just never, I always felt like, I don't know, just weird about that, like less than in a way. My mom came from a family where my grandparents left Cuba in 1959. They had to leave everything. They started fresh in Miami. You know, my grandfather worked, he made a great living, but he had 7 kids. My grandmother didn't work, she raised them. And it was always like very much of a scarcity mindset where it was like trying to save. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're like not ever being splendid, always just very much saving money and saving resources and saving whatever you could so that, you know, in case for a rainy day in the future. Also, like, I remember my grandparents like putting out food at a party, and everyone's just like always getting food as quickly as possible because there's so many people there, and if you don't get it quick enough, like you might be left with nothing. So was very much a scarcity mindset. As I grew up, when I was 15 years old, I got a job. Like I was working at the mall. I went to school during the day. From there, I would go, you know, to the mall and work. And my mom always treated us like grown-ups, like adults, and I wanted to be treated that way, but also making my own money at such a young age, I very much made my decisions. Like I was the one that bought all of my stuff, that anything I wanted. If I wanted to travel somewhere, I could because I had the money to pay for it. Like when I was 16, I paid for my car, I paid for my clothes, my shoes, my travel, my phone. Like we paid for all of our own things. And I'm very grateful for that too. It's made me extremely like just have a lot of accountability and responsibility for myself. I don't call my mom if I need something, or my dad or my sister. Like all my problems are my own, and I'm happy about that. I was always a hard worker. I was responsible. I was a great salesperson. That's what I did. I was in retail. And then I got married, and I continued to work and be in retail and do great until I got pregnant. And then I stopped working. I got my real estate license. I never really got into real estate. I didn't love it. But my husband at the time, he was working. He started, you know, when we got together, he was 24, I was 20. And he started from the bottom, like at the beginning, like we were both just starting out. And he did very well in work, and he continued to progress and progress. And whatever feelings I had at the time where we were like, you know, maybe not so happy, it was always like, oh, well, you know, we're working towards this. We're working towards having more money all the time. It was like, well, when we get here and when we get this and when we get that, I'm probably going to be happier. And he worked really hard. He was very ambitious, and he provided a great life for us. And we did. We bought our first house. I think I was 24 and he was 28. And then I had Lucas, and then like when he was like 1 or 2, we bought another house. We remodeled it, a beautiful home in Coral Gables, like my dream home. We changed my car, and I had just gotten like a brand new Range Rover that I also absolutely loved. And I didn't have to work, and I didn't have to stress. I could shop, I could lay out and tan all day and just take care of Lucas, and that was my life. And I was like, oh, like this is what I was waiting for. Like, this is what I wanted. And it was great, but I still felt exactly the same way that I did, like where it didn't change my level of happiness or the feelings that I had. So very quickly I realized that. I mean, amongst other things, we ended up getting divorced, and that was a big deal for me. When we got divorced, we had no lawyers. We did not get into any kind of messy war over money. That was very important to me. We had built everything together. And so I told him that what I wanted obviously to split our assets. He made a lot of money. I made no money at the time. I had no career. So of course I needed something to continue living, but I did not want alimony. I did not want child support. I wanted for him to pay for Lucas's school and his health expenses, for him to take care of that directly. And like, we split our assets at the time, and that was it. Like, we literally filed for divorce online. And I'm so happy, like, we never fought about money, not ever. And we never fought about anything. That was the foundation of our co-parenting relationship. And that is one of the reasons why I think we have such a wonderful, great relationship, was because of that. From there, I had some money to start my life, to pay my bills, my expenses while I was, single. I tried to get back into real estate. I really just did not love it. But I had enough money to take my time and figure it out. I ended up meeting Kirk and starting my relationship with him. I still, paid for all of my stuff for a long time. We were together for 3 years until we got married. Then eventually he started being the sole provider. I was always stressed trying to how am I going to make money? How am I going to help out? How are we going to keep advancing? And finally, especially with my scarcity mindset, I've always been, even when I was married the first time and we were in a good financial situation, I was always with that scarcity mindset, always saving, never wanted to spend. I always looking for the cheaper option. And, that was just very much in me. And when I got with Kirk, he's very different from me in that sense. He grew up very different from me, as far as spending and shopping and all those things. So it's been a struggle for sure, because we're just so different. We're wired so differently when it comes to that. And we need to have conversations, and we need to be able to talk about things and meet in the middle and understand each other. So that's been a process for sure. But one that I'm excited about, it's a challenge and something in our relationship that we need to overcome. And, we both have to grow to meet in the middle. So with my scarcity mindset, I was always stressed about money and how do I make money and how am I going to do this, but I don't want to do that. And I never wanted to spend money on myself, but I came to the realization that was the next step for me, was forget about making money, forget about job, forget about working. Thank God. And I know that it's a privilege to be in that position, but I was. And even though mentally I wasn't, I was didn't want to, I was this is my reality. Let me spend some money. Let me invest in myself and not worry about making it. So that's when I started taking a bunch of courses, which cost money, and reading books, which I felt oh, I'm not working, but I was working on myself in reading those books and gaining that knowledge, doing therapy, just experiences, all of those things. And that's what has led me to figure out what I want to do and why I started this podcast, which is also an expense. I'm spending money on this, and it's hard, and it kind of goes against who I am, but that's part of my growth. That's part of my journey now of learning and doing things with a purpose as well. Where I am now is the thoughts I've been having, really strong thoughts I've been having lately, is just seeing how I feel like everyone is chasing money, and they're always the same way I was in my first marriage, that I was waiting for something to be happy. With all the work I've done, I really strongly think that I don't feel that way anymore. I am all about every day being happy with what I have, where I am, being grateful for it, and it being not just enough, but more than enough. it's funny because like the school that my kids go to now, very expensive schools, and there's people with that are very, very wealthy, have a lot more than I have. And I feel like there's like this unspoken, like everyone's supposed to be the same and you're supposed to all be able to afford the same things. And that's not the reality. And I'm okay with saying that. Like I financially, I am not wealthy, not yet. I do believe that I will be, but I do still, stress about money at this point in my life. But the point is I do feel very rich on the inside, with just how I feel. And I'm proud of that. And I think a lot of people place so much value, so much weight on money. And I want to normalize like not doing that. I don't want to wait until I get something to be happy. I don't want to wait until I'm retired to then be happy. I want to be happy today, every single day with what I have. I think we need balance in our lives where we're not just working, to the bone to like make every dollar we can to then enjoy it later. I want to enjoy it now. I want to rest. I want to spend time with my family. I want to be happy and live a balanced life. That doesn't mean I don't want to work. That doesn't mean I'm not ambitious. That doesn't mean that I'm just complacent. I still very much believe I'm going to have everything I want, but I want to do it in a different way. I want to do it through purposeful work that feeds my soul, that helps others, and then like the money will come. I really believe that. And I mean, we'll see, but that's what I believe. I've already lived that and realized that money doesn't change really anything. It makes things easier. It makes you be able to stress less about certain things, makes you be able to pay your bills, but it doesn't change how you feel, what you love, who you love. Like it doesn't change any of that. And I think that's something important to understand and to realize. Hustle culture and like grinding is a big thing right now, but it does not align with me. It doesn't, and I'm not saying that it's bad, because there are people that does align with it, that does feed their soul. They love working. I do not. Like I want to, it's like, do you live to work or do you work to live? And for me, I work to live. And my goal in life is to live and live in the best way that I can. So is money a part of that? Absolutely. But is it everything? Is it the goal? Not at all. I think I mentioned this, but I do want to say I understand that there's different levels and different situations that people can be in. I'm speaking from my personal experience, from where I am. I know there's people living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have the privilege or reality where they can just, enjoy. They have to work. It's really hard. But I do believe that with reflection and work and like inner work and strategizing, like there is, and learning, there is a way to improve your situation little by little. I'm not saying it's easy at all. I also think there's people that have a lot more wealth and they're not happy. And I also think they need to, like, inner work is the way to find happiness. I do want to keep learning about money. I don't want to act like money isn't important. I think it is. It's a tool though. And I want to make smart decisions when it comes to money. I've read a few books, but I wanted to show these two that I already read. So this is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It is an excellent read. A lot of really good information. It's pretty easy, but this was wonderful. I really enjoyed this like classic money book. Then I read How to Get Rich, and I think this is really interesting. It's by Felix Dennis. He's the founder of Maxim magazine. He's very, very, very rich. But he says here in this book, anybody can become very, very wealthy. It's all about what do you want to give up for that wealth. And he gave up a lot of relationships, a lot of family time, a lot of things that, like, to me, that's everything. That's life. Like, this will never be me. And then I just bought this book. I actually got it today. It's called Well Endowed by Vivian Tu. She is Your Rich BFF on Instagram. And what I love about her is she's talking about money in a very smart way. And she is just normalizing talking about money. There's so much to learn. I want to start investing. I want to learn all about that. And this is, one more book I'm going to read amongst others. On another note, I kind of also wanted to mention, because I think things repeat over and over in our lives. And I think inner work and reading and learning and reflecting is what will help you make changes, strategic changes, or internal shifts, mindset shifts that will improve your life if you want them to. And I grew up seeing my mom, which was an extremely smart, capable, strong woman, and she never worked. She never had a career. She relied, even being divorced from my father, he provided and took like what he offered, but didn't ever, even us not having much financially, like she didn't try for more. And that's what she saw. My grandfather with 7 kids, he's the one that worked and provided, and my grandmother raised the 7 kids. I'm not saying it's bad at all, but I noticed that I repeated that with my first marriage and my second marriage. And not until, and I always considered myself super smart, super capable, super like I could have done anything, but I never did. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was so lost in that sense. And once I started doing the inner work and reflecting and seeing, I was like, no, I can make my own money. I can provide. And I'm doing it maybe in like not the super traditional way. And I'm doing it very comfortably, where I don't have pressure or responsibility. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm acknowledging that. I know it's not like that for everyone always, but yeah, I wanted to make that change. And I didn't want to, grow up and grow old and think, what if I had tried? What if I had done this? Like, who could I have been? What could I have accomplished? My family, being a wife and a mother, is always going to be like my number one priority, but I also want to explore this career path as well. And I want to be able to make money. I want to be a person that can also make money. I think I'm very capable of doing that. Just to end this, I really wanted to have a conversation, talk about money, my thoughts on money, my beliefs on money, my realizations, my journey with it. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I still have a ton of learning to do, but I am very happy with where I am right now. And I'm excited for what's to come. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs it too. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep choosing to live from the inside out.